you get yours early. If you answer a question, you will get your brownie or sugar cookie, whatever you want. You'll get that early.
Papa Day.
I'm
joking. I ain't joking. I'm ready. What?
Did everybody get one of these?
Yeah. I want some Chick-fil-A.
So like I promised, today's going to be an easier day. We're just going to be watching a video. This I'm going to go over in just a second. I did it. Oh, you asked me where I got this, right? Oh, yeah, we got it. I got mine. Oh,
You answer.
you
You need to ask Kelly Nelly the question.
what? Oh, I
said 5'8".
So right now, for the do now here.
Are you trying to what? I'm back when I was in
So just everybody, if I could get everybody's attention, please, real quick. So for this do now, you got everything we're doing today will be on the paper. So you don't need your phone, you don't need your computer, unless you just want to look something up. You know, I get it.
Why couldn't it be like that every day?
I don't know, how come? No, I'm just wrong. You don't know, that's a good question.
It's because I'm mean.
Is he in there?
Are you recording? Huh?
Oh, and he is going to be filming today. This is just so I got a video to be able to show to my supervisors. Does anybody have an issue if he records?
I got people looking for me.
If you do, then does anybody have an issue with recording?
No.
Okay, just
No,
want to make
but what is she recording me for? I'll record you, okay? I'll show you the
So, everybody just coming in, let me get you one of these. For everybody, just real quick, I'm going to give us all 2 minutes to just answer that do now that's on your paper. The do now's on your paper. The question is, what is imperialism? The question is, what is imperialism? You've got 2 minutes to get that down, and then I'll go over the protocol for the video today. Get this set up.
You got 66 of them. You get 66. Really got money.
You practice. You still going? She said, practice. Oh, no. I'm freezing. Are you moving basketball? No,
He's the main
When it says outcome, is it like what happened? Like what? Just what happened? The whole thing?
No, you're good.
That's how she always does. You text her while she's in school, like during the day, you like, what you doing? I'm like, what the balls bring.
I feel like you were
No, I'm serious. That's it. I don't care.
She ain't gonna say my fault.
That's fine. You didn't tell me. Okay, just. That was a hard one. Emperor? No, that's part of it. Emperor definitely done other countries.
She's gonna get married to 6 different people.
Just think of it. So we're about to get that to you. I'm serious though. You can get one if you want.
What?
Hey, that's good.
Funny guy. Okay, sorry about that. Make sure you're writing down that final answer. Sorry?
Got answer.
Did you answer the question? What is imperialism?
Imperialism is
Was she calling you back?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a policy, practice, or advisory.
would it be we're trying to help other countries or we're trying to hurt other countries? Policies, what are they doing? Helping or hurting countries? Helping, are we sure? Everything we learned about history is hurting? There you go. When you're ready, go ahead and do it. Now again, just on the brownies, you're only getting brownies and cookies. There's only enough so everybody can get one. If you've already answered a question, try to let somebody else answer a question so they can get theirs too. Because I only got so many. I got this. What time are we out of here, sir?
30.
Anybody know when we out?
1:30.
Yeah. You said 1:30 too? Jalen?
1:30.
Did you say 1:30?
Go eat your brownie.
Oh, I get a cookie for it.
You answered. That's good. Easy turn. So 1:30, we got a couple minutes. We've already gone over this week. Sorry.
That little cookie.
So we're continuing this week. We're doing imperialism. We're going to do World War II, World War I. I'm sorry, later this week. I also want everybody to know that this is going to be the last day that I'm going to be here until October 30th. So next week, I'm going to be out all next week. I'm going to be going to Iroquois High School to do observations out there. So next week, you will have Mr. Roberts just lead teaching everybody. I'll be back on the 30th, and I'll make sure to have Halloween candy for everybody. So today, you all have already done the do now. We're going to do a YouTube video. So for most of class today, all we're going to be doing is watching a video. I'm going to be stopping the video so that we can talk about it and answer some questions. And I want to make sure for this time.
Can you go to another table?
No. He's mad because he left my joke.
There you go. It's okay.
Oh, yes.
So this paper here, I just want to make sure everybody knows what we're doing. This is all that I'm collecting today. This is it. At the end of class, you can put it, you see the pile over there. Yes, Tatiana?
Do you got going Google Classroom eternity?
Everything's here. This is everything. You don't need Google Classroom. Make it easy. Make it easy. But what we're going to do is while we're watching that video, we want to make sure that we're putting some kind of note down. I don't care if the note, you can write down whatever you want. Just write something down from the video. And can I get your all's attention, please? Up here, both of y'all. Just both these groups. We'll go get him. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So you can, for this notes, you can write a note, you can draw something, whatever you take away from the video, just put that down. And then there's an exit slip. We'll get to that exit slip together on the back. And just a warning, because this video, there is going to be some military crimes. We're also going to be looking at racial violence that will be in the video. Again, this is the Philippine-U.S. war, so I'll get this set. And while I got this,
so the war in the United States mostly happened.
Okay. Does anybody need to see subtitles? Does anybody need to move up to the front?
I like subtitles.
You
I see he messed with
I didn't do that.
Let's look for this one. We are going to try to just focus on it. I'm going to do the volume here. If anybody needs it to be turned up, just let me know. Just raise your hand and I'll turn it up.
How do you feel? Are you Philippines? Filipino? Okay, I'll stop. I'm Mr. Beats, and I usually put bad jokes in my videos, like the one you just heard.
That part's no good.
Yeah, but in this video, I'm gonna try not to do that because this is serious stuff. This video is about a war you probably don't know much about. If you're an American, you likely didn't hear much about it in American history class, and that's likely because it's a war that the American government has preferred you just not remember. You see, this war makes the United States look bad. Very bad. As a matter of fact, it's a war that some historians say killed as many as 1 million people, a war in which American soldiers committed all kinds of atrocities, including pillage, torture, rape, and the massacre of civilians. A war of imperialism in which the United States wanted to control the Philippines to exploit its resources and use it to expand trade throughout Asia. Here's the story of the Philippine-American War. Once upon a time, well, specifically, on April 30th, 1898, an American commodore named George Dewey sailed a small fleet into the Philippines, an archipelago made up of at least 7,100 islands in Southeast Asia. At the time, Spain controlled the islands, but it was quickly losing its grip over them. You see, for the past couple of years, Filipino nationalists, or those who wanted the Philippines to break free from Spain so that it could be its own country, had been revolting.
What's nationalism? What's nationalism?
What'd you say?
What's nationalism? That ain't an answer. Well, you already got
Something to do with the war, right?
something to do with the war. Does anybody know what nationalism is? Support taking over? What were you saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying, taking over another country.
Trying to break free.
Oh, well.
Because they're trying to break free from Spain. The Filipino people were already owned. And did you already give one? Go ahead.
Oh, but.
You gave me an answer. Go ahead when you're ready. But, so the idea with nationalism is that we're talking about breaking free from another country and getting one's own independence. What happened here in the United States? How did we become the United States? Sorry? Well, that's part of it. It is. How did we become the United States?
No. Oh, we'll be wrong. No,
American Revolution. And what was the American Revolution? You can feel free to call out, you can raise your hand. American Revolution. It was a war. What happened in the war? Same thing. We fought Great Britain and we won. So we won our independence. Both of you all, because you both answered, you can go ahead and get one when you're ready. But thank you. So the idea here is nationalism, breaking free. The United States won its independence when it fought and beat the British. Right here we're seeing a different, the British people were a monarchy. The Spanish Empire was a monarchy. This is one of their colonies. It'd be the same way that we at one point were 13 colonies. We got our freedom when we were able to break free. These Filipino people were still in the midst of fighting for that independence in the same way that the United States colonists tried to do.
Put it on our head.
So we're going to continue with there.
Do I want?
Led by Emilio Aguinaldo, these Filipino revolutionaries had had lots of success by the time Dewey showed up. All that was mainly left for them to capture was Manila, the capital of the Spanish East Indies. Meanwhile, the United States was now also at war with Spain in what became known as the Spanish-American War. So that's what had led Dewey to take his fleet to the Spanish-controlled Philippines. On May 1st, Dewey's forces attacked the Spanish Navy stationed at Manila Bay, easily defeating it. You see, Dewey's ships were made of steel, and the Spanish ships were wooden. The Spanish lost 350 men, the Americans lost 0, in what became known as the Battle of Manila Bay. Meanwhile, Aguinaldo wasn't even in the Philippines at this time. He was in Hong Kong. After hearing about the American...
And I just want to be clear on something with Aguinaldo. So Emilio Aguinaldo, he would be the equivalent to a George Washington. So George Washington was the guy that helped lead the colonists to their independence. Emilio Aguinaldo is trying to do that same thing for the Philippines.
American victory in Manila Bay. He returned.
He helped be, like how George Washington helped lead the colonists to freedom. Emilio Aguinaldo's trying to do that same thing for the Filipinos at this time. Again, we're at 1898.
They did what again?
Sorry?
They did what again?
Who? Emilio Aguinaldo? He was trying to lead the Filipino nationalists.
How do you spell his name?
I'll help you when let me get this going.
Emilio Aguinaldo.
To the Philippines to resume the revolution. And here's the thing. While the Americans showed up acting like they were going to save the day, in reality, the Filipinos were likely going to kick the Spanish out of the islands anyway. Under Aguinaldo's leadership, the Filipinos surrounded Manila and turned over 15,000 Spanish prisoners to the Americans. Aguinaldo and his forces also officially declared independence from Spain. Aguinaldo also declared himself president of the Philippines. Meanwhile, the German Navy also decided to show up acting like they were going to take over the Philippines now. Dewey sent a telegram back to the United States to request more troops so that the Americans could fully take over the Philippines. That said, Aguinaldo and Dewey had both agreed that they would join forces to take Spain down. We'll figure out the details later. Over the next 2 months, more and more American troops arrived in the Philippines, enough to scare the Germans away. Soon the 13,000 Spanish troops in Manila were completely cut off from the outside world. After Basilio Agustin, the Spanish Governor-General of the Philippines, tried to surrender to the Filipinos, the Spanish Parliament was embarrassed and kicked him out of office, replacing him with a dude named Fermin Yodenes. Yodenes secretly worked out a deal with Dewey to have a fake battle in which Spain would surrender the Philippines to the United States, not the Filipinos. That fake battle, often called the mock.
He was playing him. Dewey. Emilio Aguinaldo, you got it right on the. Thank you for pointing that out. Let's listen to what Tatiana just said, because something that she's pointing out is Dewey, the guy that represents the United States, was lying to the Philippines. He said to them, we're willing to work with y'all to help you get your independence from Spain. However, at the very same time, he was talking back doors.
Right, he's one of that.
He shouldn't have backdoored. You don't do those deals if you're really trying to fight honestly. So thank you for pointing that out.
Battle of Manila took place on August 13th, 1898. Even though the battle was fake, 19 Americans and 49 Spanish died in it. Regardless.
And so that idea there was a fake battle. Spain and the United States agreed, okay, U.S., you all can have the Philippines. But if you're going to have the Philippines, we got to make it look like we put up some kind of fight. So they arranged this fake fight with the whole end already in mind. The U.S. was going to take over the capital at Manila.
Yodenes surrendered Manila to the Americans, not the Filipinos, as they had agreed to, and that was the end of the Spanish-American War in the Philippines, for real. After this, the Americans sent a message to Aguinaldo telling him not to move his forces into the city. And this, you could say, made Aguinaldo quite upset. Mucho. President William McKinley even sent out a telegram that said, quote, there must be no joint occupation with the Filipinos and all others must recognize the military occupation and authority of the United States. This.
Now, something I just want to point out. McKinley is the president at this time in the United States. And like McKinley just said, he's saying that, can somebody explain what he just said? Anybody want to take a crack at it? Okay, that's fine. So what McKinley's saying is that there cannot be a joint occupation. That means that the Philippines can't be run by both the United States working with the Filipino people. Only one can run the show. And the one that wants to run the show, well, of course, he's the U.S. president. It's going to be the United States. But something I want to point out is at this point he's saying there can be no joint occupation. 1903, this is a couple of years later. Again, this is 1898. in 1903, well after this war was over, William McKinley would go on to say, I got my notes, it'd be helpful if it was right in front of me. I can't find it, but the exact words he said is that something along the lines of, here it is. McKinley says, I've been criticized a good deal about the Philippines, but don't deserve it. The truth is, I did not want the Philippines. I did not know what to do with them. If he's saying that we got to be the ones to run the Philippines, did he really not know what to do with them?
Wait, so the Philippines fought the U.S.
For their own land. We were taken in. We became the ones. We're going to see that here because now we're getting on. Thank you for pointing that out, Rick. Because now we're done with the Spanish-American War. We're setting up for the Philippine-U.S. War. So at this point, we're going to get there in a second. But the idea is just that he's trying to say that later on he's trying to basically apologize. Anybody ever heard somebody apologize for something without really ever apologizing? That's exactly what he's doing here. And Kiana, did you say no the second?